Action News, Delaware Valley's leading news program, with Gary Papa, Dave Roberts, and Jim Gardner.
Thursday night, a two-toll truck makes quite a mess along County Line Road in Villanova, and emotions boil over during a court hearing for the son of a Philadelphia police officer. But the big story on Action News tonight is our first winter storm of the new year, and we have been keeping a close eye on the rush hour drive home. As AccuWeather predicted, the snow has now turned to freezing rain, and that has the potential to make roadways slick indeed. This is a live picture of the Schuylkill Expressway. And PennDOT has done a good job keeping this road in good shape since this morning. Now let's switch live to Route 1 in Trenton. Like PennDOT, New Jersey DOT has been spreading salt on the major roads throughout the afternoon, but with freezing rain now falling, conditions could deteriorate, and this is the way it looks on Route 13 on the south side of Wilmington. Traffic less here. The snow turned to rain here before the immediate Philadelphia area, and they'll be the first to see the sleet and freezing rain turn to just rain. Now let's go to Sky 6 live, looking at the downstroke of the Ben Franklin Bridge. If you have to drive during the next several hours, be careful. You may not see icy spots on the road, but particularly on less traveled streets, they will be there. And we are also live in Allentown, where it is still snowing, now just turning to freezing rain and sleet. Of course, the Lehigh Valley is getting more snow than Philadelphia and South Jersey. Let's get all the facts and figures now, plus what happens next, from Dave Roberts and AccuWeather. David?
Well, Jim, anywhere from a coating to an inch in those areas in Allentown, anywhere from 3 to perhaps 4 inches as things start to taper down. Action Radar will show you the system that we've been monitoring now for a couple of days, it seems. That system just kind of trying to move through the area, but it's a slow mover. And within it, well, we'll break that down for you too, and you can see the mixture, the snow, the freezing rain, the sleet, and then to the south, you're going to see the rain. That area of snow is lessening. The area of freezing rain is widening a little bit, and that's where we are right now with the rain to the south. We've got to push that on through and get to all rain. The call from AccuWeather is ice to rain. 7 to 9 p.m. we expect rain. It is raining here on City Line Avenue now. It continues to change. We expect it to be ending between 10 p.m. and midnight tonight. However, there are going to be some icy spots. The overnight low, 30 degrees. So until that temperature gets above the freezing mark, we're going to have to contend with icy spots and difficult conditions. That's the latest, Jim. We'll be back in a few minutes, take a closer look at Action Radar and talk about the weekend, too.
Thank you, David. It doesn't have to be a major storm with a lot of snow to cause problems around the region. Case in point, students in the Penwood School District in Bucks County were sent home at midday as the snow came down. Officials wanted to get the buses rolling before the roads got too bad. And it was slow going alongside Easton Road in Glenside, Montgomery County. Further south, in Ellesmere, Delaware, this CSX rail crew had to heat things up before the work could be done. And so kerosene was poured on the rail and ignited in order to melt ice so connector pins could be replaced. Just a dusting of snow fell at the Jersey shore, like here at the Farley State Marina in Atlantic City. It was icy enough, however, that a salt truck made its way along the boardwalk, just in case anyone cared to take a stroll. And here in Dublin Township, Bucks County, a tough trip for the driver of this tractor trailer. The wheels were moving, the truck was not. The bad weather and bad driving have already caused 2 tragic mishaps. 2 people have been killed in 2 separate accidents, both on Sloan Avenue near Route 295 in Trenton. In one accident, a car carrying 3 people skidded out of control, jumped the median, and hit a car coming in the other direction. One person in the first car was killed. Police are still at the scene of the second accident, but we know one person was killed there as well. Predictably, there have been a number of weather-related accidents around our area, in addition to those in central New Jersey. This is the scene on northbound I-95 near the airport just before noon. 2 cars got involved in a minor mishap near Enterprise Avenue, but a tractor trailer carrying paper products swerved to avoid the 2 vehicles and slammed into a guardrail. The truck jackknifed and spilled 200 gallons of diesel fuel. As you can imagine, this caused a major traffic problem, and in fact, police shut down the road for 2 hours. Cars were backed up northbound for miles. They had a detour to get off. Fortunately, only 2 people were hurt, and their injuries were minor. Now, let's go live to Action News reporter John Rollins at Cottman and the Boulevard in Northeast Philadelphia. John, what have you seen in your travels today?
Well, Jim, we've seen several weather cycles here in the last 2 or 3 hours. We had snow, then it became rain, then sort of an icy sleet, a little icy rain. Right now we seem to be in just sort of a rain pattern, but that could all quickly change. Conditions started going downhill while there was still light. Driver Samuel Broussard learned firsthand when he tapped his brakes and lost control on the boulevard. His large car then slammed this white Honda into a tree, trapping the Honda's driver.
When you first saw this, you didn't think he was?
When I first saw him, I thought he was dead, to be honest with you.
Firefighters worked for 15 minutes to free the Honda driver, Ed Graham. Graham was uninjured thanks to seat belts and airbags.
Yeah, it was excellent. Yeah, it saved my life, I guess.
You must feel very, very lucky.
Oh, yeah.
There's not much left.
Well, I didn't get hurt at all, I don't think.
Pedestrians also found the afternoon's precipitation troublesome as sidewalk slush became icy.
A little slippery.
Yeah.
A little slippery. Not much, but just a little.
Just enough to be annoying.
Just, yes, yes.
Well, in the last hour or so, it's gotten a bit more than annoying. It's rather slippery underfoot right here, right now. We have the makings of what could be a miserable night. We've already been talking to some drivers who say they've found quite a few icy spots on some of the side roads up here in the Northeast. I'm John Rollins, live on the Action Cam.
Thank you, John. Now let's go from John Rollins to Dan Cuellar, who is live at 202 and Warner Road in King of Prussia. Dan, what's the situation there?
Ditto here, Jim. We have been getting periods of freezing rain, snow, and some sleet, but for the most part, it has been a problem-free afternoon here in the western suburbs. We are overlooking Route 202 at Warner Road, where, as you can see, it appears to be the kind of rush hour that we would have on a rainy evening. However, just a few moments ago, one motorist hit another, running him off the roadway. It appears, from what we could tell, to be a minor fender bender. The other motorist, however, kept on going. The concern right now, Jim, is for icy conditions on the roadway. The material that fell earlier is turning into a slushy material, as you can see here on the Warner overpass. The snow that fell earlier is turning hard and slippery. In anticipation of this, because they expect that this could be a problem, PennDOT and other government road crews have been out and about salting and sanding the roadways, 2 items of which they have in abundance because we have had such a mild winter. So they are not being stingy with this stuff. They expect to be working through the night, hoping to keep major roadways problem-free. However, those side roads are another story altogether. They're not getting any attention, so they're very slippery right now. So if you're going to be out and about, be careful. I'm Dan Cuellar, live on the Action Cam at 202 near King of Prussia.
Thank you very much, Dan. A major problem this afternoon in Villanova, and this had nothing to do with it.
Nearly in Buffalo. Bill, it looks like over the past couple minutes the snow just starting to come down a little bit again.
That is right, Rich. Now, Jim talked about a sneaky snow squall. We had sneak previews actually today here. A couple of inches of snow fell. We landed about noontime. Snow picked up about 3 o'clock. And between about 3 and 6 o'clock tonight, we did pick up a couple of inches of snow. And we're getting a little squall coming through right now. And, Rich, it looks like the wind may be starting to come around more to the southeast as that low has passed to our west. But that wind is going to keep coming all the way around, and then we're going to get the main event starting probably later on tomorrow. This is the 9th of January. Normally the lake is iced over. Not the case this year. The lake is wide open. Relatively speaking, it's warmer water, a lot warmer than the air above it. That's going to cause the instability, and we're going to get blitzed somewhere over here in western New York with heavy snow.
Well, it looks like last week's warm weather has actually set up a situation tomorrow, as you pointed out, some big lake effect snow. Thanks, Bill.
Okay, Rich.
Well, as we look at Bill Keneally in New York, we are looking for more lake effect snow. That's coming into Buffalo probably late tomorrow. We'll talk about that tomorrow. For now, let's show you some history of our storm already outside, and you're cold inside too. Storm history from north of Oklahoma City over to St. Louis and over to central Indiana, a stripe of 6 inches or more. We're looking at Battle Creek, Michigan, now up to 8.5 inches. Or maybe it was Kalamazoo over to Battle Creek, anywhere from around 6 to about 8.5 inches. Anyhow, we're going to be upping this total in lower Michigan as the snow is falling quite heavily over the past 2 or 3 hours. It's starting to taper off. Here's the situation, our trifecta of lows. This one heading up the coast. Good news for Virginia into D.C. The precip now cutting off, still snowing around Chicago, but the snow is beginning to taper off. Here's a look at the latest situation on our satellite photograph. Low pressure center moving up the coast. That one is through here. Another one out through the lakes, and one with the Arctic low, which has enhanced the snow. I was looking with Jim Cantori earlier about this snow around Des Moines and northeast of Des Moines. A little bit of enhancement there, but really the main story that eventually we will focus on is this dump of cold Arctic air which is ready to spill southward. A look at the satellite photograph, again, in some cases more than 6 inches. Around New York City, starting to change over. D.C., the snow is just about over with. Watch the latest radar here. Eventually, as it goes into motion, I saw at DCA at National Airport a break. Still, apparently, there's light precipitation in the vicinity. Also, some light freezing rain or sleet near Baltimore. And around Philadelphia, the mix of snow, sleet, and freezing rain accumulations generally have been from around 1/2 inch to about 2 inches. New York City starting to mix over with sleet and freezing rain in central Long Island.